Welcome back to live coverage of YCS London 2019. We are now in the top 16. It's getting down to the wire, it's getting down to the clock. Let us bring these two duelists who'll be playing for us next. From Switzerland, David Erpen. How are you doing, David? Come on in, come on in, come on in.
I'm doing fine, like top 16 again. We'll see.
Let's see if you can clinch it out this time. You know, Gent didn't really go too hot, but I mean, still a top is a top. How do you feel about this event right now, actually?
I really like the event. It was really hard that a lot of people with X2 didn't top, but it is kind of how it is, like the Comic-Con and all the people who drop. But yeah, it's hard for them, but we're here, so let's go further.
Okay, so you want to go further. Do you think the matchups that you have so far were like kind of difficult ones? Did you actually have any difficult ones?
There were some difficult matches, but the most of them I could clinch it out somehow. It was a cool event, yeah.
Like, which ones were your worst ones that you had?
I think my worst matchup was around like 10 or 9, where like my opponent just ended up with having everything game 3, and I just lost. But that was the only loss, so it's okay.
All right, David. Okay, okay. You seem like you're cool, calm, collected, and you're ready to start this round. Congratulations, make the top 16. Take a seat.
Thanks.
Now, this is one going to be a bit of a tongue twister for me, because his last name is a bit of a doozy. Coming in from Germany, Christoph Kofoet. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. How do you feel, man?
I'm feeling great. It's my first major top, so I'm obviously stoked about it. And I'll try to get as far as possible, so just see how it goes.
Like, Johannes had that same mentality as well, and you have the same man bun too. So, you know, probably challenges same spirit energy as well. So, I mean, how did you feel about the deck of coming into the tournament and, you know, you're making it now so far, making a deep run of it?
I mean, like we couldn't pre-register on Friday, so we went here on 6 a.m. on Saturday, so that was a thing. The deck itself, where I played, it worked very well. I'm just hoping to draw as well as I did, and yeah.
Okay, so you're going to basically play your heart out, try your best, and see how far you go. I wish you a whole lot of luck. Congratulations for making it in. Take a seat, and we can take this duel on the way. Now, the stage is set. The players are getting ready. Crowd is ready. Let's head over to the casters at around Leonard Kunig and Sebastian Lemke.
Thank you, JJ. We are here for top 16 of YCS London 2019. So we are having David Erpen and Christoph Kofoet. That's actually an interesting party player-wise. David Erpen has been super strong.
Yes,
he hasn't been really on the radar. He hasn't had a featured match yet. It's both they both haven't had one yet.
True.
But David Erpen has topped every event except for Portland this year.
And I mean, it's quite of an understatement that he wasn't too hot in Ghent because he actually made top 8 there as well. So
that's true.
He's still to be top 8 here, so he has to take that step. And his opponent Christoph will not give him an easy time because he's running hot this weekend as well.
Yeah, he hasn't been in the game for too long, and it is his first major top.
Yeah.
But he still is a good player, and I really think that this is going to be a really great game. And why don't we just jump right into it?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, so it is a matchup that is heavily favored for David.
Oh, do you really think so?
Gotta be honest, Orcust versus Thunder Dragon is not too easy for Thunder Dragon.
So with that many Orcus around, how did Christoph come so far?
He's a superior player.
Must be the case, right?
I mean, the matchup is not unwinnable, for sure. If you win the dice roll and you can start, you have hand traps, you can work with your Titan as well, because Colossus is not too strong versus Orcust. But in the grind game, in a big grind game, I think that Orcust has the upper hand because of cards like Longirsu and Dingirsu.
Yeah, I do agree. And we see Christoph playing some going second cards in his main deck already. And he's seeing quite a few of them right there. He's seeing double mind control, anti-impermanence. And it is indeed David who won the die roll, though.
Oh.
And
This
that's already such a
opening
good start, right?
is orchestrated return, discard Harp Horror. And you can see Christoph's face. He is already like,
Maybe game 2? No, not at all. I think he will still put up a fight right here. And David actually has to immediately go for the Harp Horror effect. So it looks like he has no normal summon, and we can see it in his hand. He does not have one.
I mean, David Erpen has some cards that are not too strong in the matchup. He has Cosmic Cycling Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is sometimes strong if your opponent has something like Batteryman Solar.
Yeah, true.
Which Christoph ironically has. But Cosmic Cycling is also not that strong unless you want to throw it at maybe an Impermanence, or in some cases also chain it to the Thunder Dragon Fusion so it doesn't enter the graveyard and you cannot use it next turn for free search.
Yeah, right. That's actually quite a cool interaction, because normally you never actually activate the Cyclone on
an activated
spell card.
Unless it's continuous, then
of course.
Multi-roll is a card that you would want to Cosmic Cycle.
That's true. And so David did not have any of his strong normal summons, but he still was able to normal summon his Brass Bombard then, and now he's going off, having Galatea, having Harp Horror. And the standard play for the Orcust deck at the moment is just to go for Babel. You really want to have rather Babel than the counter trap at the moment.
And I think David really wants to go for the IV Masquerena play, because he told me that he has it in Prismatic Rare and he really wants to show it off to the stream.
He told us the whole day, right? I have
time
to get this card into the stream because we haven't had an IV
She's
Masquerena.
she's ready.
And is he going for it now? Look. Oh no, he's going for Nagisa first, of course. He's spoilering us still.
We are way too hyped. We are way too hyped for this. So he can now maybe attach.
Ooh, and Christoph is thinking about Impermanence.
I wouldn't do it.
I do agree. That doesn't seem too valuable.
I think you keep the Impermanence for the Masquerena. Okay, maybe you don't.
Okay, so he cannot equip another material to it.
I mean, that would be really strong if it wasn't for the Harp Horror.
Yeah. I do agree.
But oh wait,
there
is really strong.
Prismatic IP Masquerena.
Yeah, there it is. So he doesn't have access to Skeleton play next turn. That is really huge.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he does.
You're right.
Because he uses Harp Horror, special summons out the Skeleton, and then goes for Masquerena and Skeleton into Longirsu. So he does have one.
yeah, exactly. You're right. But you have to do the IP Masquerena Link Summoning effect first. So you kind of forced that out already.
No, yeah, okay, that's true. But I mean, Longirsu is still a card that can wait around and then Ignition activate its effect.
Yeah, I do agree. So looks like David immediately wants to activate the effect of the Harp Horror here, special summoning out the Skeleton most likely, as you were saying. There it is. Yeah, we talked about the impact of IP Masquerena a lot this weekend. And
Masquerena.
This card having so many impact on the deck, so much impact. And 14 top cut spots for Orcust in total in top 32. That's just a superb number for the deck in total. And top 16 wasn't much worse for them. They still have a lot of them in. And Salamangreat actually suffered a lot in top 32.
Mind Control on the Masquerena.
Ooh. So he did not immediately shotgun the link effect of the Masquerena, but now he will probably respond with it.
I mean, he's just going to go for a Longirsu. I mean, Mind Control is taking out this one possible interruption, of course. But it is so sad because Masquerena still summons a Longirsu, and Longirsu is also another interruption, so you can't really get around that. Unless you have a second Mind Control, as Christoph does. Oh, he goes for Galatea.
What's the reasoning behind that?
He might want to just get the extra pluses. He might not be too eager to see or to send something away. He just wants to go for the pluses with Galatea and manage his resources a bit better.
Yeah, because he obviously knows what he's facing right here.
Yeah.
He knows that he's playing versus Thunder, and Thunder has a pretty good grind game. So David has to prepare for grinding a little too, if it is necessary. Is Christoph actually playing Dingirsu in his extra deck? That would be pretty good in this situation.
This is his deck list, and no, I don't think so. I cannot see it right here.
Sadly not.
Oh, that would be so strong.
Yeah, you could abuse the Galatea of his opponent so hard.
It would get rid of the Cosmic Cycle.
Yeah.
Strong. Very, very strong play.
I mean it's just additional plus, right?
The Cosmic Cycle in this situation is not really the most powerful card. The Ash Blossoms in the hand of David, rather, they would worry me if I was Christoph. And I knew about the Ash Blossoms, of course. So, of course, as orchestrated bobblers on the field, Galatea can chain and set the
and as we just see that the Cosmic Cyclone is still in hand for David.
Wait,
and
it's called
on
by
the
the grave
table it
set
is
then.
called by the grave, which
It's
could
called
be
by the
more impactful in this situation.
That indeed.
You would really like to clear that called out.
It's a good answer to Solar. I mean, you
And
don't
there
even have to
comes
Ash be
Solar.
Solar. You can just call the monster directly, and then you can also Ash Blossom the monster that would be special summoned by Raw or Dark, or Search by Dark. That will be...
But he still ashes the effect
And
of Solar.
That is so good for Christoph right now, because he can go Sarcophagus out his Roar, and he does not even lose anything by it. He even gets the token for Batteryman Solar, and this match just suddenly took a different turn than we expected.
Yeah, that card could have been the game ender here right there for Christoph, but David decided against it. He had 2 Ash Blossom in hand, so he wanted to get rid of one of them.
I really don't see why you wouldn't wait for the effect of Solar and then call the monster immediately, so you get rid of an extra resource. This was just a stopper for the combo that doesn't really do anything because of the Gold Sarcophagus in hand. I mean, it's an unsearchable one-off, and you can't really, you don't really want to play around it. But I mean, Cold has so few uses versus Thunder Dragon, except for Hawk, basically, except for Hawk. But
Yeah.
still.
I do think that was kind of a gamble from David, and he's not really too happy about seeing Solar being abused now.
I mean,
with
this
Gold
could
Sarcophagus.
just easily be... Does he run Boral Soul Dragon? He runs Boral Dragon?
Oh, he does
No,
not,
he
right?
doesn't play Boral Soul Dragon, because that would be an easy Boral Soul OTK. But he can still go for an Appaloosa, which is also really strong in the matchup. And I think he's just going to do that.
Yeah, but keep in mind that David still has his graveyard available to himself, so he can still get out Skeleton Effect and then...
There's an Appaloosa.
Oh, now he cannot anymore,
is
so
now
maybe he should have done it before.
Out of his graveyard resources, so to say. Now Called by the Grave is used on Dark. And I mean, that is really strong for him, so Called really still has a use. He hasn't used a hand effect yet, I think, but he has Thunder Dragon in hand, so he can still just activate that. And then
Looks like that's
make a Colossus.
what he's doing there. And David just sits there. He has Cosmic Cyclone and Ash Blossom in hand, so he really needs to draw into something to get him going. But what could that be when there's Appaloosa on the opponent's side of the field?
with triple negate options.
Yeah. I mean, Christoph going second in this unfavorable matchup, apparently doing a very good job of maybe outgrinding his opponent here. Or what means outgrinding? He just put up a big boss monster which keeps his opponent away from playing, basically.
The Appaloosa really hurts David now. He didn't expect it. I mean, he would have used other effects first.
Yeah.
And there it is. Thunder Dragon Colossus. This feared card is such a powerhouse since 2017? 18?
18 it must be,
18?
yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, he still activates the effect of the skeleton targeting the Dingirsu. Okay, so we have one negate out.
Yeah,
and
and
you
it's-
obviously do that in the battle phase because now you're taking less damage by the Appaloosa.
So if he top decks Harp Horror, he can attack over Appaloosa and then go into Clara and Rushka if he plays it.
Harp Horror
No.
basically being the only monster you can top deck that can run over
Or
it, right?
he
On a
could-
Dark
he could-
Grapher could be a monster as well.
He could also top deck Cyber Dragon next turn.
Oh, yeah, you're right, you're right.
Yeah. But then still he would have no resources left to play. But I mean, just in case of the nicer top deck, I wouldn't have used the skeleton. Because
Yeah, right, because you can bait out the negate with it anyways. Or what means bait out, you can just put away the Appaloosa, basically. So what is his top deck? What is the card he was looking for?
Armageddon
Armageddon
Knight.
Knight.
That is a great top deck, but it's not going to help him too much. He can use it and then run over Appaloosa, because Appaloosa is for sure going to negate it.
It has to, definitely, yeah. So he gets rid of the Appaloosa, and what kind of resources does he have left in his graveyard? He has Brass Bombard in his graveyard, but that can only special summon from the hand, so it's not doing too much right there. And besides that, there's no other Orcust monster in his graveyard.
I mean, he can also wait for the Orcust effect, but that doesn't really make a difference.
I'm sorry, guys. So he's probably negating the Armageddon Knight. Oh no, he's picking up his deck. I think Christoph let the Armageddon Knight go through.
So he's just waiting for the Orcust effect in the graveyard, which kind of makes sense resource-wise. But I mean, he probably just doesn't want to get his Appaloosa to 800 attack points, but it's going to be at 800 attack points after the Orcust effect is activated. So
yeah, but I mean, when you force out that Orcust effect, you kind of force David into just playing Darks for the rest of the turn.
he has Gizmek Orochi.
Oh, where does that come from now?
Armageddon Knight.
Oh, he just sent it with Armageddon Knight, of course. It was already on the field, so I was assuming he let that through,
So
but
Christoph
there comes the
should have
negate.
negated that. he now negated the Gizmek Orochi, but that one is going to stick in the graveyard, and Christoph probably just realized that he should have negated the Armageddon Knight. There was no reason not to.
Yeah, but that was kind of a double mind game, right? Because Christoph was like, yeah, I want him to waste his Orcust resources. And then David realized that, being like, no, I'm not going to waste any Orcust resources. I'm just going to put in the Gizmek, which then can still be used next turn.
And that will protect him for a long time. Also, it cannot banish his skeleton face down because that one is banished face up, meaning it's not in the deck or in the graveyard, but it can still be accessed via the Link Monster effects or Dingirsu.
Yeah, absolutely. So Christoph apparently just going to battle phase, and this game really taking its time. It's really going slow right now.
Yeah, he has an Ash Blossom in his hand. He picked it up. That's not the worst card, but he probably wished for something that he could play with.
Yeah, because David is down to 2,600 life points. Christoph really wants to finish this game off when he's so low already. And there's just Ash Blossom in both players' hand at the moment.
So he picked up Harp Horror, and that is so huge. Harp Horror is the best card he could have drawn at all, because now he can summon the Gizmek Orochi, normal summon the Harp Horror next to it, and then immediately go into Galatea. I mean, the Harp Horror can be Ash, but then Crescendo can hit the Ash.
That is really the best card he could have drawn there.
Yeah. And then he can just go into Dingirsu and get rid of the Colossus easily. So Christoph, by not negating the Armageddon Knight, didn't really do himself a favor there.
Absolutely not. He can just hope that David maybe banishes a lot of resources with the Gizmek Orochi, and that at some point he's going into a deck out direction. But it's pretty unlikely that we're getting to that point, to be fair. I think David should be able to close it out before that,
Once
if he has
again,
a chance to.
Gizmek Orochi, the Serpentron Sky Slasher, coming in clutch in this match.
Yeah, definitely. This card was kind of a sleeper when Rising Rampage was released, but it became definitely the complete opposite of a sleeper because everybody is running it at the moment. And Galatea had hit the field now. Does Christoph know that there is Crescendo set?
Yeah.
Okay, so he knows that he has to fear it, and that his Ash Blossom will probably be negated. Everything else would be very surprising.
David Erpen with a brilliant move, sending the Gizmek Orochi instead of any Orcust card with the Armageddon Knight, so he can just play because Gizmek is so sticky as soon as it hits the field once, or the graveyard rather.
Yeah, and the grind game of Orcust just became so much better lately because they're now playing triple Orcust return, and you can use your Galatea much more often now because back in the day, you can only search the Crescendo or the Babel, but now you have triple return to search for as well. That gives you a lot of possibility for the later turns. And they links the Galatea and the Nightmare away, probably going into Longyear now, right?
And Christoph played this so well. He did just not expect this Gizmek. The first turn, where his opponent set up all the responses with Babel and the IP Masquerena, and he got rid of all of his problem cards. And now he is just in such a terrible position.
Oh, and still Longyear, as always, can just send away the monsters, so Colossus cannot protect itself from that.
There is a Crescendo and Ash Blossom.
That's a good setup right there. Normally David would end on stuff like that in his first turn. But now he managed to do that in turn 4 or 5. And Christoph really not looking too happy, and David being on the upspring right there. Look, David even having a little smile right there. He knows that he kind of get away with it here by sending that Gizmek Orochi, really having that brilliant moment to go with it.
So he does not have the Harp Horror in his graveyard anymore, so he can just Ash that, and then Crescendo won't be alive for the next turn if David doesn't find a way to get the Dingirsu to the graveyard to summon another Galatea.
Oh, right.
So actually, Christoph has a shot still.
We were saying he's definitely going to negate the Ash Blossom, but when you're not having a Link monster on board, that's pretty hard.
I mean, what can he draw now? Can he draw into Hawk and then special summon Dark? And then where do you go from that point?
I mean, then you already have a Thunder monster on board and you use the Thunder effect in hand. So you're good to go with Colossus. I don't know whether Colossus helps you too much here at the moment.
I don't think that Colossus is going to solve all your problems.
I don't think so either. I think you just have to kind of get a lot of monsters on board. And by the looks of David's field, I think that could be a lot of trouble for Christoph, because getting multiple monsters out when your opponent has Ash Blossom and Crescendo, that's very suboptimal. Let's see, Christoph awaiting his own turn there.
It just shows how deep this game goes. This one moment where he did not negate the Armageddon Knight because he wanted to negate another card to get rid of the resources of his opponent. he just maybe lost this game.
Okay, so Thunder Dragon being activated immediately. And ooh, he drew into Allure of Darkness. And I mean, at that point, you basically have to go with a gamble, right?
I mean, Allure of Darkness is actually a really good top deck. If it works,
then
he's going to have so many more good cards.
And he's praying right there. That final card by David to his deck, and
But
now he will
draw. You can just ash it.
There's the Ash, and he knows that the other card in hand is a Thunder Dragon, and he just passes. And David knows that he can then attack for game next turn, because Christoph only having 4,800 life points left now too.
Yeah, Gizmek is going to do the trick in this situation.
Easily.
Also, he has Orchestrated Return, and now the judges are interfering with something.
Apparently they are, but I don't know what to think about that, to be honest. It just looks like a very clear situation that David is going to win this duel. But they're checking the graveyards. Maybe they just want to reconstruct how many turns we already had.
Oh, because of Gold Sarcophagus.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That would be an additional resource for Christoph right there. And we definitely already had 2 turns in between that. What did he banish with the Gold Sarcophagus?
Thunder Dragon Roar, which would not help him either.
Not really, and that's probably what they're just figuring out at the moment. I mean, okay, when he has Raw in hand, that really does not change too much, but he would have had Raw last turn, right? So that could have enabled him for some more plays there.
But what, he doesn't have a Hawk in his game.
Yeah, right, true. So that Raw would have been in hand anyways.
So they reconstructed it. They gave him the Roar. The Allure already activated, Allure already being ashed.
Yeah, so that doesn't change too much. You're completely right, it was about the Gods of Orcust, and he now has it in hand, but let's see. David being pretty confident. Oh, looks like Christoph just drew a card. Meaning that...
No, wait, he just discarded the Roar and added back the Dark probably.
Ah, okay, yeah, of course, you're right. So still no way to actually get out a monster which he can then use for his big Thunder Dragon extra deck monsters.
That is still
look how David just presses his hands forward. He makes it. He is a winner of game 1 right here. He is in that comfortable position, and he can now sideboard, being the leader of this game so far. So let's see, what is David siding in when he's going second? I have his deck list right here. And going second, he's actually decided to play Dynarester Pankratops. Kind of an interesting decision, because this card really did not have a lot of popularity lately.
Yeah.
Because it's not that good versus Orcust. And Orcust being the best, most represented deck here. And in the top cards, it shows again a lot of Orcust. So that is interesting. But he does have Artifact Lancea.
That's probably a good card.
A little better, I agree. And for the rest of it, it doesn't seem like he has too much for the Thunder matchup then. But what does Christoph do with his Orcust matchup here?
Oh, Christoph has a lot. He has Nibiru, he has Super Polymerization, and he also has Pankratops. But I don't think that Pankratops is going to be sided versus either Thunder Dragon or Orcust.
I don't expect that, to be honest, as well.
So he's probably just going to side in the Nibiru Primal Being and Super Polymerization.
Yeah,
Depends
but Nibiru, like, did we really have a super impactful Nibiru like over the whole tournament so far?
I don't know what Marcello and Steven had, but we haven't seen one.
Yeah, right. We did not even see one resolving, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the point is, when it is resolving, it is always super impactful, because 5 summons were already a big commitment. So after that, that's always a big game changer. But we didn't see it at all. And it was actually like so powerful.
It's actually not 5 summons, it is 5 monsters. So
You're
if you
right.
Pendulum summon out 5 monsters, then Nibiru can immediately be summoned, even though you only committed to 1 summon.
Yeah, that's right. That's very bad for Pendulum players.
Yeah. As we already have seen in the last featured match of Swiss, where Paul Cooper got Nibiru.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah.
With his Pendulum deck, which is ironic. So we have seen one, but we haven't casted the game.
That's actually true. So let's see. It's both guys German speaking, so at the moment not too much communication going on though.
I mean, you will have to focus on your own game.
Yeah, definitely.
And on the one of the other, but you're not talking about it too much in a top 16 game of YCS.
There's no small talking going on anymore, right?
And Christoph now has to overcome his, let's call it, interesting choice of the last game to not negate this Armageddon Knight. He probably knows that this Gizmek entering the graveyard was the biggest problem that he had in the last match. So if he can just forget that and play on, then he might be good to go and recover from this first loss.
Yeah, I mean, he already made top 16, so he should be in a very comfortable mindset already.
Yeah, but now you want to go for the win.
That's the thing, right? Does the pressure get higher or does it get lower when you actually made top 16?
It gets so much higher, especially when you're on the featured match. You really want to perform well, you really want to win.
That's probably the point. The featured match always gets some extra pressure given to the situation, and he really has to fear everybody seeing him making a misplay. I wouldn't say that it was a misplay to actually not negate the Armageddon Knight. I think it was a pretty good decision, but David then just sent away the Gizmek, which was the perfect answer right there, and he came away with it. So Christoph, for a second it looked like he made David start, but I would be surprised by that.
I mean, he has super polymerization. Oh, the hand of David is either really strong or really bad.
Why do you say that?
Because I do not really see Orcust card, but I see an orchestrated return, but there might be an Orcust. I see Nexter, I see Ash Blossom, I see orchestrated return, called by the Grave, and the Mathematician. Mathematician, if it's answered by an impermanence, that could hurt him so much.
Oh, yes, Ash Blossom. Do you throw an Ash Blossom on Mathematician? You probably do.
You do. But
And
there is the called by the Grave.
oh, yeah, impermanence would have been so much better in this specific situation. Christoph thinking about it. No, he lets it through.
So he also, again, wants to negate the card that is in the grave. And he's not risking to see a Gizmek, because Mathematician cannot send Gizmek, it can only send level 4 or low. So Ash Blossom wants to answer the Mathematician, but
David
goes,
thinking
ring,
about
ring,
it.
the grave is calling. Okay, Ash Blossom is banished.
But what do you think about the decision of Christoph to go second? Like in general? Do you think that's a good decision versus Orcust?
Not really. I mean, the powerful IP Masquerina board is really, really huge. It is 2 interruptions just by the normal summon of Mathematician. If you're not running so many hand traps, but I mean, he plays Mind Control, he plays Lancea, he plays Nibiru. Oh, he doesn't play Lancea actually. He has decided versus Lancea, against Lancea. That is really interesting.
Especially when you rather play cards like Pancratops, which are like arguably not that good at the moment. And Lancea has like a very, very good usage overall. You can use it versus Thunder Dragon, you can use it versus Orcust, you can also use it versus Lunaloid Orcust. Also versus Grand Maju, like we had in the last feature match.
But I think we shouldn't forget is that David also has an Ash Blossom, but he called by the Graved Christoph's Ash Blossom, so his one will be negated in the next turn as well.
That's right, he cannot use it at all. So Christoph is basically free to play because David will set up the Babel, so the Crescendo won't come into play. Looks like Christoph could have a shot here. I mean, he has very powerful cards in his hand. He has Allure
really
and Goldzog. Both games having Goldzogs, that powerful one-off, could enable a lot for him.
And he has Mind Control as another answer.
Yeah, I can see that going somewhere. Oh, look at that. David decides to go with the Crescendo here instead of the Babel.
And that might hurt him because, honestly, the Mind Control easily takes out the Crescendo. I mean, you can chain the Masquerina and then go for Longirsu, and then you dodge the Mind Control. And he has seen double Mind Control in game 1.
Yeah, exactly. That's really interesting.
So,
oh, but he can still draw into the Babel, maybe. Maybe he just knows that he's hard drawing the Babel right there.
that would be odd.
I definitely
really
agree.
suspicious. Okay, so Galatea is summoned by Skeleton.
I'm really curious to see what these 2 more cards were. And David actually is playing a super heavily going first main deck because he's main decking Sanctum, Track Trick, and Impermanence, which
he just passes on the Galatea, and the rest of the cards in his hand are not really doing too much. Ash Blossom is negated. We see a Nightmare, I think. And Christoph picked up the Super Polymerization, so he might actually be able to OTK.
That is possible, and I think David kind of got overwhelmed by the decision of Christoph to go second. Because David did not expect it. He did not keep in his Sanctums and his Trap Trick and his Scythe, of course. So he has no real defense here, and Christoph could go on a roll here.
Yeah, so Christoph now really needs to play this out perfectly. We know that David Erpen does not allow one single mistake.
Yep, so he negates the Mind Control with Crescendo, of course.
Now,
but so Christoph is free to play now.
So does he banish the Dark now and search for the Roar so he can allure into Roar? Which would...
I think that's the play.
That sounds like a good play, but eventually you're not going to end up having a access to Duo or Fusion, which you really want.
Okay, he did banish the Raw, special summoning out the Dark.
He decided against it, so how is he going? play this out. So he uses Hawk to summon back the Roar, which makes sense.
Okay, so
So
hand
far, so
effects
good.
being used as well now.
So does he activate Crescendo? Oh no, he activated Crescendo on the mind control. Never mind that.
Yeah, this turn he cannot use the Crescendo anymore.
Oh, he has double Ash Blossom in hand now. Oh wow, is this some summoner?
Looks like it.
Then he can search one card for Dark.
There is some summoner. And he searches with Dark as you were anticipating. What are you going to search here? Do you search for Duo maybe?
I mean,
Or do you go for Fusion?
Duo really looks strong here because you can just attack over the Galatea. There's no protection for her. And then you can search for a Dark monster, which allows you to go for for Allure of Darkness. But if you go for Duo, and then you make a lot... What targets does he play for Super Polymerization? Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. So how much damage is it really if he goes for Duo?
He
goes
is
for a
taking the
Colossus?
Duo. Thunder Dragon Duo, he summons it right there. He does not get too much use out of the banish right there.
He could search out another Matrix to deal more damage even.
He's just going for Battle Phase right there.
Wait, so he cannot go for Starving Venom Fusion Dragon?
Because he has a Light and a Dark on board,
Yeah.
right?
He
That's
should have gone for the
unfortunate.
Colossus. That's more damage. I mean, maybe he wants to go for double Colossus as well, but that is not really doing too much versus Orcust. And his opponent has a lot of resources in the graveyard.
Yeah, and also when your opponent just passes on 4 cards in hand, what do you expect David to have here? You probably think he has a lot of starters in his hand.
Yeah.
And that is the case, as he has Armageddon Knight and also Cyber Dragon Nexter. I mean, Nexter also kind of an extender as well, but you really don't want to give him the chance to start off again.
With this, he can set up a Colossus and a Titan. Okay, so he's going for main phase 2, and now he goes for normal summon and goes into Colossus, searches another Matrix. I was expecting the Duo to go into a Colossus and then banish Matrix and Colossus for Titan to search another Matrix to have it set up in the opponent turn for discard and a quick pop.
Yeah.
But he rather prefers to have either 3 Colossus or to keep the Duo on board. Duo actually pretty good in resource games.
And also he now has his Super Polymerization
as well, right?
for his opponent's turn, so he can use it as a defensive card rather than an offensive card. And that could work out right here, I have to say. At what point are you activating the Super Polymerization? What are you waiting for that David is putting to the board?
It's probably going to be Dinkirsu effect.
Most likely, right?
Yeah. Oh, and he goes for his signature move again. He won a very important match where his opponent had basically the perfect Salomon Great start, and he acted like he wouldn't really have a good hand, and then he set the Nexter, acting like he would brick, so his opponent doesn't really activate the Salomon Great Rage, and then he sent it to the graveyard, contact fusioning it. Genius move at this point.
You
So
don't expect it, right? When your opponent is just setting a monster, what could happen with it? And then you're like, contact fusion, that's the way to go. Like back in the old Gladiator Beast times where you just set your Bestiari to get out the Gyzarus. You can now get out Mega Fleet, of course. Mega Fleet also such an impactful card in the finals of YCS Ghent, and maybe it's leading to success for David this weekend as well. He already made it to top 16. And he tries to make it as far as he did in Ghent, which would be top 8 now.
Colossus actually does something here.
Normally it doesn't versus the Orcust deck, but right now it's pretty alright, you're right.
Locks Crescendo.
Yeah. True.
Not the most impactful Colossus, but or rather not the most impactful Surge.
Better
but it's
than
still
nothing.
something, right?
Better than nothing. So that Galatea is being summoned. Also Galatea cannot search for something out of the deck right here.
I mean, Galatea never surges.
Yeah, right. It sets. That was rather dumb by me, I have to say.
Agreed. I would definitely agree on that.
So he will set something with it. And Christoph just realized, his face looked like he realized it as well. Yeah, you cannot search. Oh yeah, it doesn't search. No, he definitely is fully aware of it being a top 16 participant right here.
But he still has the Super Polymerization, and that one might hit hard. I mean, I don't know if he wants to activate Dinkirsu to send a card, because then you're 100% forced to use Super Polymerization, or if he wants to use Dinkirsu later on to attach, which would also force you.
There is a Dinkirsu.
So
and now it depends on what he's saying. I think he said attach, right?
This looks like...
It looked like attach to me. And I mean, if he says attach, you just let it through.
And if he says send, he sends away the... Wow!
Ooh!
Christoph with the
Wow,
poker
what
face.
a gamble, man! Because Dingirsu doesn't target, you don't know what he's sending away in the resolve, and so Christoph acted like, my back row is kind of a bluff. Please send away my back row. But no, he decided on the Colossus, and now Christoph really has that comeback card available to himself in his back row. Super Polymerization could be the game turnarounder right here.
I mean, he really can't out the Colossus, except for with Longirsu, so he could out the Colossus in other ways. So maybe it would be safer to send away the set card, seeing that Christoph has let him start. So he should maybe expect something like a Super Polymerization.
Definitely. Because it cannot just be the plan for Christoph to have like a solid going second matchup. You will have to expect from him that he's boarding in super good going second cards, which make his going second variant a lot better. So it seems like for David it was so important to actually resolve the Crescendo Surge. And he now is able to do so because the Colossus is gone.
I mean, you can also take away banished cards back to your hand.
Yeah,
Crescendo.
But what is banished so far? It's like only skeleton.
It is not the Gizmek Orochi, which is in the game again. And this card has caused Christoph's last loss, single-handedly basically. So maybe it's going to do that again.
Let's hope not for him. But Christoph doesn't like it, definitely. Crescendo, like, so good that it can not only search Orcust cards, rather machines.
It can search Jinzo.
The best card in the game.
People have topped events with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is super great against back row decks.
Yeah, right, of course. I cannot imagine the face of an Altergeist player when you just drop Jinzo on them.
I mean, they are probably not too surprised if you have searched it before with Crescendo. But still.
Okay, then the face when he's searching it out.
Oh boy, there's something coming.
Okay, so there's...
By the way, duo still on the field. This duo is sticky so far.
Galatea coming out, and Christoph just waiting for it to be over. He wants to have his turn again. He wants to take his shot.
He is ahead in life points.
But still, he did not decide to actually activate the Super Polymerization at any point.
I mean, there wasn't really a point where it would have made much sense, right?
Yeah, as you said, it was like kind of a gamble not activating it on the send effect of Dingirsu, but he got away with it.
And David passes. And also, Christoph has already punched for 2,600 damage. So winning the game this turn with Super Polymerization isn't that far away anymore.
Yeah, you're right. And
he drew into Phantasme. That is decent, because there's a lot of darkness. But there are 2 Ash Blossoms waiting in David's hand.
And look, he immediately pops it out. I want to get rid of my Ash Blossom. He activates it, and no Allure of Darkness for Christoph. And he just goes into battle phase.
Christoph just says, no way, Jose, I'm not going to have that.
Yep.
Let's just attack. Let's make this easy. So, now, again, an interesting decision. How does David play this out? He uses Skeleton, of course, to protect the Galatea. He can summon Dingirsu and then decide to either send away the duo or to attach something. And if he attaches something, then this game might just be over.
Oh, yeah, you're right, because he can then just activate the Super Polymerization.
Just chain the Super Poly then.
Oh, this is the crucial point of this game, I feel like.
Oh no, Gizmek Orochi is in the graveyard.
Oh, so true. This card always
Gizmek Orochi is in the way
say.
so much.
And looks like he announced to attach. That's where Christoph comes in now and activates the Super Polymerization. Thinking the same as we did, maybe. Yeah. That could be game, potentially that is game, but then he gets reminded by David, I still have the Gizmek in my graveyard, sadly.
Yeah. Gizmek Orochi is just... I cannot stress this enough. This card is so good.
Absolutely. It seems like the generic cards that Orcust can abuse at the moment are just so strong. IP Masquerena is so good, Gizmek so good. That it just adds up.
So this attack will very likely go through, because you do not want to summon your Gizmek Orochi into the Thunder Dragon duo.
Absolutely not. Yeah, Christoph says, okay, fine, I will have to run over the Gizmek then.
Unfortunately for Christoph, he was stuck in a replay, so he has to attack with duo first. Otherwise, you could just attack with the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and if your opponent summons Gizmek, then you don't care about the 2,800 damage that you could deal, and then just attack with the duo to get another card and maybe get some plays going.
Yeah,
but that's not going to happen. He just has to stick with the few damage points that he deals, chopping his opponent down in life points and not gaining extra card advantage. And Gizmek Orochi can just be summoned next turn again. This card is super strong.
Gizmek Orochi, seemingly the card of the Orcust deck at the moment,
Yeah.
even though it's only played once.
And I mean, this is the point where you see that Thunder Dragon is sometimes outgrinded by Orcust. I mean, at this point, Christoph really did not have too many answers.
Yeah, there comes Cyber Dragon next turn now. He's discarding the Nightmare, so he has it in graveyard ready to be used. There also comes the Skeleton, bringing back the Dingirsu.
Yeah, Cyber Dragon Extra is such a powerful card in Orcust because it just summons back machines from the graveyard and is a special summon itself.
Right, it wasn't Skeleton, it was just the effect of Nexter, of course, you're right. That is so good that you can just bring back the Dingirsu.
When people started picking this card up, I immediately thought, why didn't I think of this before? This is so obvious if you read the card.
Yeah, at first only people in Cyber Dragon Orcust were playing it,
Yeah.
but nowadays people have adapted and they found out that this card is just super good in pure Orcust as well. And it became kind of a staple, and I definitely can see it becoming a staple, like a total staple in this
Yeah.
deck moving forward.
So Dingirsu attaches more resource management on the side of David.
Yeah. Christoph only having the Phantasme, so he waits for a Link Summon of David, which is about to happen, I guess.
But I mean, how many Galateas has he used?
Let's just go
Ash
through the
Blossom
graveyard.
normal summon is interesting as well.
In the graveyard, he has 0 Galateas.
Ash Blossom normal summon could also be a game changer.
A game changer. Just normal summoning a monster with 0 attack.
Wait,
How can
I
it be a
don't
game
think
changer?
he has 0 Galateas.
It shouldn't be, right? Maybe our app isn't really accurate on that.
But he has Phantasme in hand. Phantasme could have been ashed in the turn before, and now if he goes into a Link summon, Phantasme will be dropped. So this could prevent possible Boral Sword OTKs. Of course not Boral Load OTKs. But he could actually draw into cards that he can play with, which he was lacking for the first 2 games.
Yeah, that's right. So there is the Link Summon we have been talking about.
Because Thunder Dragon is really popular because of the infinite resource game that you can play out, constantly bringing out beaters turn after turn after turn. But Christoph never got into those engine cards.
Yeah, that's right. Christoph, rather unlucky in our featured match here so far.
So David thinks we're playing Zodiac all over again, just makes a big pile of monsters. Okay, no, he goes for a Link Summon. That is...
But you still keep all the monsters?
that's not how you Link Summon, right?
That's not how you Link Summon, definitely. Okay, that's kind of confusing.
I can see confused faces in the crowd right now. That is a lot of...
I mean, he already put out the Dingirsu to the table, right? So it seems like he wanted to go with it.
Yeah.
But apparently they agreed on him not having to summon it out yet.
David has a scary graveyard as well. Just look at the top card of it. It's Gizmek Orochi.
He's
This
already making his scary look onto Christoph.
yet another resource that he has left over.
And again, he does not want to put away monsters for it. But there comes the Unicorn, and he wants to send away, or rather put back to the extra deck, the Starving Venom Dragon.
Yeah, and now will we see the Phantasme being summoned? Yes, we are. And David doesn't even have a hand anymore, right?
It doesn't look like it. He even discarded the Impermanence, so it looked like he was fully going on to that OTK, and that Phantasme could potentially hinder him from doing so. So, Unicorn and Dingirsu, that's definitely not enough damage yet.
Especially since we are seeing the Phantasme now. So what cards did he draw? Christoph not out of this. Another Ash Blossom and another Phantasme. This is not what you want to see.
That's true, but also like, if he can grind that out for a little longer, he actually is ahead on life points right now, so this could become a factor too.
His duo is sticking.
Exactly, David has to find a way to actually get over this.
How does he get rid of the duo now? Oh, okay.
Oh, that's a good answer.
This is how
to
you
duo.
get rid of the duo, and this is also a good answer to having lower life point total.
Yes, he gets out the Topologic Bomber Dragon.
But the life points shouldn't be correct, right? He attacked directly with the Starving Venom before.
Yes, you're right. The Starving Venom Dragon
Yeah.
did attack directly, so that is definitely not accurate.
So David should have a way in the graveyard to summon something next turn. but he can use the effect of Thunder Dragon Duo to stack a card of his banish pile to the top or the bottom of his deck.
Yeah, and look, he's showing off what he has right there. So what kind of card he does want to put onto the top of his deck. Because normally you want to stack something onto the top, so you know what you're top decking next turn.
I mean, if you have good cards, which he does, he has God Sarcophagus. This is a card that always enables your plays. He could use the Mind Control, but he chooses the Hawk, which is the best resource play so far. This is probably the best card that he can draw at all. So why not directly choose it?
Yeah.
And what does he draw? Can he draw the Hawk that he needs so badly?
He only has 1 minute left, so that's again a matter of time right here. Christoph really has to factor that in. He does have to play against the time. Or right now it seems like he's ahead on life points, right?
Yeah, he can just activate the Hawk. And now his opponent basically has to answer this somehow. Because also the Duo has more attack points than Bomber Dragon now. But is there a Nightmare in the graveyard of David?
I mean, he discarded the Nightmare with the next last turn, so there should be a Nightmare.
But he might have
there.
used it already.
I didn't see it, so potentially there still is one. But David not looking too happy right now. And Christoph having a smile right there. It looks like he could be overcoming this.
Oh, and he can also negate the Nightmare possibly. But there is a skeleton in the graveyard, right?
Let's see. Yes, there was a skeleton. There was a skeleton and a Nightmare. And the Gizmek still.
Yeah, he can negate the Nightmare unless it is used in the damage step with his Ash Blossom.
Yeah. And oh, our clock just stopped right there. So we definitely will have to keep track of that.
So
always with timeout, definitely you have to be sure on the exact second, right? You cannot be like, oh, it was like 5 seconds ago. Oh, yeah, we timeout somehow. You definitely want to know when it is timeout. And it seems like David just got the news. He was like not too happy about it because when timeout is announced at the moment, he's not winning this game. And that would mean Christoph gets a game free.
Yeah.
Which would be a nail-biter because top 16, you're sitting there. You have to go into a timeout sudden death battle. Not too cool of a situation, right?
So why is there an Ash Blossom being added back to Davis? And you guys cannot see it, but there was just like an Ash Blossom added back to the hand of David. Probably he tried to Ash Blossom something, but he did that too late maybe. And now the time still does not continue.
Looks like they're picking up their cards, right? Oh no, they're rewinding the game. Apparently they're rewinding
Cyber
the
Dragon
game.
Naxter was used, so nobody can go into Unicorn.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right.
That is an issue. Now we got it.
Right, so they have to rewind the game right there. They're trying to get it back. And I mean, if you have the chance to rewind the game, you definitely will have to do so because it is always the best if you can then still play the game and don't have to give a penalty to either one of the players. So you really want to make sure to get everything into order again.
Will the game be rewinded, like the time be rewinded as well? I don't think so, right?
That is a good question.
Because that is an important factor right now. I mean, in Top Cut, we do not have draws.
Obviously not. Just getting both of them to the top 8, right? I mean, okay,
Top
we have
9.
9 players now. Yeah, everybody else will be happy with that.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. That's like a more complex ruling question. Not really a ruling question, but some judge has to mention it, so there will be an answer to it.
I'm really happy that I don't have to make this decision because
Definitely
I wouldn't know
not.
what to do at this point.
But I mean, you will probably have to give extra time, I would assume. Because from that point on, you had a different time on the timer. And you have to rewind the whole game. So when you rewind the whole game, it's basically like you're turning back the clock. So you should probably turn actually the clock back as well. Yeah. And yeah, we see that they are still rewinding it. And
I mean, we're lucky that we're in the featured match because we can actually see how much time it was on the clock.
Exactly,
and
that's
we have
not too
4
hard to
judges
rewind.
standing around the featured match.
Definitely. We have like a lot of eyes on this game in total because in the hall there's a lot of people joining us for this. I mean, as far, like when we get deeper into the tournament, obviously everybody then joins the feature match area. They want to see the final games, the most important games of the day, of the whole tournament.
Oh, and also the cards that Christoph drew off of Phantasme are changed now.
Oh, yeah, you're right. A whole lot changed there. And there is a timeout. Okay. So probably what we just find out is that there's not going to be extra time because they are in timeout right there. And seems like David is like, yeah,
Okay, game
not rewind that anymore. Let's just go into game 3. I probably messed that up the most, so I will have to go into game 3 right here.
Okay, but good catch of the judges that Unicorn couldn't be summoned after Nexter, because Nexter restricts you to summoning machine monsters.
Yeah, that's true. At some points they catched it. Maybe someone in the crowd even made them realize. But in total, we have a super fair game again. And it looks like both of them can laugh about it. Yeah, and now again, we have that very specific situation that only comes up in Top Cut anymore.
Yeah.
Like, do they roll the dice now again? I think they do roll the dice for sure. And then one of them will go first or second.
I think the higher roll has to start.
Yeah, probably. And Christoph so cannot really play that mind game anymore. Also, sideboarding isn't happening anymore now because they were already in timeout. They have to stick with the deck they had right there. And when you only have 2 turns available to yourself,
You really want to have super polymerization in your main deck.
that is definitely an argument, I agree.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it seems like Orcust can really be like that deck that just clinches out some damage by just sending away with Dingirsu and then attacking for some
Yeah.
life points. But it cannot be more intense than that right now because you have 2 turns available and that determines whether you will be in the top 8 of YCS
If
London
you
or
still
not.
have the chance to possibly win the YCS London. So, guys, give it up for game 3 of the top 16 match.
And there is the die roll. We have a round of applause in the hall. Yeah, there you can see the guys.
Okay, now they stop clapping. Do it again, guys.
Ooh, yeah.
I did
they
not
are
think that this would
showing
work.
it. They're showing the love and passion for the game, and they want to see that nail biter game 3. And I can already see, wow, the hand of Christoph contains Nibiru, Super Polymerization, and Ash
But
Blossom.
he does not have anything to play with.
Wow, double Super Polymerization even. But if
That's
he can
not
then
good.
just use the monsters of his opponent, he may be able to attack with the
Yeah.
Starving Venom Dragon then, and that could be enough.
He always draws into mind control.
That is true. This card lost
Also,
him.
unfortunately, Thunder Dragon is not a one-card combo deck.
You're right, you're right. So even if he draws into one of his Thunder Dragon cards then, he still is struggling to get some
Unless he
plays
draws
going.
into Thunder Dragon, then he can Super Polymerization and then tribute his monster.
Oh,
Yeah.
the OG Thunder Dragon could be the way to go here. And the hand of David really
It's
showing us...
really strong. It is Dark Grapher with World Wand.
Yeah,
That's
but
super strong.
Christoph will just wait it out and at some point drop the Nibiru on him, and
That is also an argument, yeah.
David won't like that.
So 2 summons so far.
I like the Nibiru token could be big at some point, and then maybe the
You can
Nibiru
mind
token
control
will
it.
be... Oh,
And then
you're
go
right.
into a Link 2 with Ash Blossom.
You're right, that could be the way to go. I mean, if you have Nibiru and Ash Blossom, is there any point in throwing the Ash Blossom before you actually resolving the Nibiru?
No, also because I think he has in mind that he will have to get rid of the token. And this he could do with mind control. Don't forget that Nibiru is a 3k beater.
Yeah, he has a monster available to
Yeah.
himself. A pretty big one as well.
You could just go for generic card beatdown, which is a really good deck right now.
Definitely
I mean,
is.
just look at Grenmaju. It's
Yeah.
not an archetype deck. It's just a bunch of generic cards that are really strong in killing your opponent.
This hand basically seems like Duel Devastator going second deck, right?
Yeah.
Apart from the Nibiru, all of these cards were reprinted in Duel Devastator, and you can then just make some go second stuff happen.
Okay, but he has not used the Galatea yet. Oh, right before he wants to liquidate the Galatea. He plays around Nibiru, basically.
Yep, he wants to search first. He's searching out
Babel.
the Babel.
Babel got so much more
Immediately
important than
activating
Crescendo.
it. Absolutely. That's really the toolbox of the deck at the moment. It enables you to just use all of your Orcust effects in the opponent's turn. Really crucial.
So, Nightmare is activated.
And Gizmek is there as well. This Gizmek can be really powerful once more.
Yeah. This
Man.
thing really protects your life points.
It does. That's like the best sudden death timeout card you could wish for, because you can always block the last attack that Christoph could throw onto you, and then you still sit there having 8,000 life points. And life points, in some Yu-Gi-Oh matchups, life points are not like the most important factor, because you have like such an advantage that the opponent is just giving up because of it. But right now, there's only life points mattering because it's timeout, sudden death.
And did you see that? Christoph was hovering over his Ash Blossom. He said, wait, I might want to react to your Nightmare activation, but he didn't.
Yeah. That's right. He does indeed have Ash Blossom in his hand, but he does not activate it because he knows that the Nibiru is coming at some point.
Indeed, this is so intense.
Wow.
You can basically cut the tension in the room. You can cut the air.
Yeah. Imagine Christoph would have had to go first with that hand. That would have been awful for him.
That would have been a pass. And there is the Mascarena again.
Mascarena. Let's see.
Terrible joke, Basti. Why do you keep on doing this?
I just got it from you, my friends. So Christoph knows he has a lot of stuff he can use in his own turn. He has mind control, he has super polymerization, and he will have Nibiru token available to himself.
Nibiru will play around the Mascarena.
Yep.
And didn't he just use the skeleton to sound back the Galatea?
Oh, and there's Nibiru. There's a round of applause in the hall. People love it. We actually talked about it. We haven't had an impactful Nibiru the whole tournament so far for us as commentators. And here it is.
The big
Christoph
boy.
has it. Christoph brings.
And there's only Mathematician in the hand of David.
Oh, and what did he pick up? He did pick up Aloof Lupine, right? That looked like Aloof Lupine.
Not really doing so much.
I mean, it's a monster you can attack with at the moment.
That is really true.
And he just wants to get on damage at some point.
Okay, David Erpen plays 2 skeletons in his main deck, so he can send the skeleton, but Christoph still has the Ash available to him.
Yeah, right, he saved his Ash, so he can then Ash in his own turn, basically.
Oh, if he Ashes this is going to be so painful for David.
Wow, that Nibiru is so strong for Christoph. His going second strategy in game 2 basically paid out because he had to
and
go
he Ash
second
Blossoms
there as well.
it, so there is no Dingirsu available this turn for David.
That's right, David only has Gizmek as defensive option for his turn now. He only has that left.
Christoph will, of course, mind control this token because it has so much attack. Or does it have so much... Does it even have big defense points? He just attacks
He just
over
attacks? I mean, you have to do damage at some point, Christoph, so...
But I mean, he has one more turn after this, right?
He does have, exactly.
So he really wants to keep this themed for him, the good cards. Can't talk anymore. So he sets both super polymerizations. I mean, he can still use the super polymerization defensively next turn.
He probably will have to.
There is just a Harp Horror on David's side, and there is, of course, a Harp Horror on David's side. So committing to the board would not really make any sense for Christoph. So Skeleton is special summoned out.
Okay, so David really has to find a way to do damage here. Otherwise, Christoph will just be able to win it in the next turn.
And there's Gizmek Orochi, a card that can possibly get rid of the Nibiru.
That is true indeed. Because not only this card is being summoned so easily and so often, it can also then destroy a card on your opponent's side of the field. That's just super, super strong. Gizmek, one of the MVPs of this weekend so far.
At least for David so far.
Definitely.
For every Orcust player that we have seen on stream. This card does so much. So there are 2 cards in the hand of David.
Dice is rolled around a little more. It is now showing a 3, and that means it is the 3rd sudden death turn, and it is the last turn for David, potentially.
So does he have in his hand Orcust Nightmare and Mathematician? Mathematician really big in this situation. Another monster that sends another card.
So we see it. He uses the effect of Gizmek Orochi to get rid of the Nibiru. And potentially David could just play around super polymerization by just attacking here, maybe?
But then next turn he would get really hurt by the super polymerization. I mean, Christoph would just mind control the Gizmek Orochi or the skeleton to keep it on his side of the field and to stop it from hitting the graveyard.
Yeah, probably right. Let's see, what is he doing? He sent away the Nibiru. That's already the first step. Now he normal summons Mathematician. Does Christoph respond to that in any way? He does not really have a response to it.
No, he does not want to super polymerization here.
That would be odd, definitely. Oh, the last moments of this match are approaching, and you can really see both players hoping that it is their time to shine this tournament.
And Christoph does not look too happy.
Absolutely not. I mean, what kind of hand was that? He had like all of his board cards. He had Super Polarization, Mind Control, Ash Blossom, all the interruptive.
But he's missing the Thunder cards.
Exactly. Really seems like he's just
If you
playing
just
an
imagine-
interruptive deck with no real win strategy.
Imagine this, one of those Super Polymerizations would have been any Thunder card with Alufu Peen together.
Oh, he could have gone off so hard.
Yeah.
There
And
comes the Phoenix.
So now Christoph is aware of every card that David has in the game. So, and David will probably be really happy to see the Super Polymerization be sent away. But Christoph played around with it. So he still has one Super Polymerization available to him. But if he summons Dingirs now to send the other card, then he cannot even activate it.
That would be huge. And it would also be like quite a bit of damage then.
Yeah. And I think he is going to send away the card. There is no real point
Yes,
in
he
attaching.
points at it.
Yeah.
Super Polymerization number 2 is gone. So the comeback potential for Christoph is minimized
And
so
this is
hard.
just a, this would already be a Boral Sword.
And did he use Gizmex this turn yet? No,
No.
right? So that is not just the last turn of David, it's probably the last turn of the whole game in total.
Yeah, David played this out really well, played around 2 Super Polymerizations and can... Oh, wait. There's... Christoph is pointing towards something.
Looks like he's not able to activate the effect of Gizmex.
I mean, he should
oh, he
be.
can only use one effect of Gizmex per turn,
yeah,
and
he
he
popped
actually
already.
already popped. So he cannot kill this turn, basically.
And he already committed to the Boral Sword Dragon.
That's right. He's using the Nightmare there.
But I mean, if he sends World Legacy World 1 and special summons back out a Harp Horror, then that should still be enough, because Boral Sword would be at 3,800 twice, which is 6,000,
He sends
7,000
the World
something.
1, definitely.
Yes, that should still be game if he summons out the Harp Horror.
Christoph helping David out together. They're figuring out how this game is going to be end. But there's Brass Bombard. That's not a lot of attack points. Yep,
And
but
the
there it
handshake
is.
there. David Erpen once again advances to the top 8 of a YCS. This is absolutely insane. This game took so long. It went into the top cut timeout. Wow, this was really close. This was breathtaking.
That was a nail biter. I couldn't
Yeah.
even see it anymore. And both of the guys were like going back and forth and back and forth. And their facial expressions were really going from happy to sad, from happy to sad.
And Christoph, in no game, he was really able to access his whole Thunder Dragon cards. He hasn't activated
Yeah.
Thunder Dragon Fusion, the best card in the deck, arguably.
Absolutely.
He hasn't activated it once.
Yeah, and still managed to win one game. So
Yeah.
definitely congratulations
Yeah.
on Christoph as
He
well.
really deserved this top cut spot. Cannot
First
argue against that.
YCS top for him, YCS top 16. You can tell everybody about it, and you definitely can add that to your resume. Like, that's something you can be really proud of, I would say.
It really is.
Also, it's pretty
1,000
funny. You told me about him being like playing Thunder Dragon for forever, like the
Yeah.
pure variant.
Even when the deck wasn't really strong, Christoph still stuck to this deck. And then all of a sudden it became a top tier deck, and Christoph was so happy about it that he could like play his deck and play it really well.
Yeah, and you can see, I mean, he
Yeah.
can execute it perfectly.
He nearly
And-
top trend as well.
Oh,
Yeah, he
Look,
was
look.
really close to topping this.
yeah,
I think he
it's
bubbled
so
last
funny.
round.
I mean, that was like one of the last Thunder Dragon decks being in competition, I think,
Yeah.
of the pure variant. And this deck was basically being played like that in YCS London format 2018 as well. The
Yes.
deck basically is the same in
Indeed.
2018. That's really, really
Yeah.
interesting. And there it was like brand new. Everybody was fearing the Thunder Dragons, and they came
Especially
into
the
the tournament.
Sky Strikers. And people didn't really experience the full combos that Thunder Dragon could put out, and everyone
Yeah.
was like, yeah, the deck does one Colossus, how does Sky Striker beat it? You have to hard roll the anchor. But it was much more than
People
Thunder Dragon
figured
could
it
do.
out
Yeah.
at some point.
Like really quickly.
Yeah, so let's hear from our back-to-back top 8 participant of a YCS. Let's go over to the interview with David Erpen.
Thank you, Sebastian. That's right. You've actually topped every YCS so far that you've been playing in. That's crazy. How do you feel about that then? Just collecting the next one, just like a badge under your belt. How do you feel?
It's crazy, man. Like, this match, this game, I just hope to play better in the future. But yeah, it's great to be back again in top 8. But yeah, it's like, it was hard. The pressure on the feature match, it really got me, I think. Yeah, but thanks, yeah, it's crazy.
No, he's lost for words for a bit. So let's try to get a bit of focus in. So the last few turns of the match, going into time, right? You know, both of you are fighting for your resources, trying to get back into the game, trying to get the upper hand. What was going through your mind then?
I just tried to make the best play, but yeah, it was enough. Like, yeah, just winning.
Okay, just winning, just winning. So don't be too hard on yourself. You know, it can happen to anybody. You know, being rewarded to trying to make the most optimal play. Even if you think sometimes it's optimal, it could be inoptimal, but don't worry about it. Don't stress yourself about it. You still can, you know, you still have the top 8 to pass, top 4 into the finals. So you have a lot of time to relax, calm down, and to get back into it. So thank you, man.
Thanks, JJ.
Oh, thank you, man. And now there will be more coverage after this.